Okay, good morning everyone. Afreilich and Shushan Purim. What could be a better way to spend a Shushan Purim than to be learning Hilchos Kriya Shema? We know that Kriya Shema is Mavatel Haman. The 54 words of the first parsha of Shema are Mavatel, the 54 mentions of Haman in Megillas Esther. We are up to Mishna Berura Sif Katan Yud Aleph, which is in Sif Beis. To review for a moment, the Mechaber said that the above mentioned dinim of Aninus is only during the weekday, but on Shabbos one is chayiv the whole day until the night. If you were machshech on the tchum to be oisek b'tzarchei kvura, but if you're not machshech al tchum, then you're chayiv even in the evening. So in other words, on Shabbos a person's chayiv the whole day until the night, if you're already at the tchum. But if you're not at the tchum, you're chayiv until the night. But once the night comes, then you're pater, because you're sort of primed to be involved in tzarchei kvura. If you're not machshech al tchum, then you're chayiv in the evening as well. Says the Mechaber, v'yom tov sheni dina kachal. The second day of Yom Tov has a din of a weekday. V'ayin Siman Tavkuf Mem Ches Sefhei. V'yom tov rishon, the first day of Yom Tov, imroitzel kaver b'yom. If you want to bury on that day, al yidei ovdei kachavim dina kachal. V'mein roitzel kaver b'yom dina kashavas. If you don't want to bury that day, the din is like Shabbos. Says the Mishna Berura Sivkatan Yinalav dina kachal. V'afilu einay roitzel l'kavra, even if you don't want to bury him. Mikal makar michal alav kol dinei Aninus. All the dinim of Aninus are chal. Even if you don't want to bury him, all the dinim of Aninus are chal. On the second day of Yom Tov, all the dinim of Aninus are chal. V'davka k'shiyachal l'kavray el shalei norat. So that's only if you're able to bury, just you don't want. Avlam i'ev shel l'kavray machmas eid ovdei gagulim. If you're not able to bury because it's a Gentile holiday, or some other extenuating circumstance, like chalal of Aninus, the Aninus is not chal. The kasa b'chachmas adam, the meis loy meis b'yom tov b'shachris. The chachmas adam writes that if a mess dies on Yom Tov on shachris, b'shas tefillah, at the time of davening, b'makam shaminag lahoyshav gabayin, in a place where they usually make gabayim, v'lo yachal lekabtzam ad achar tefillah, and you cannot gather them until after the davening. So in other words, let's say the mess dies Yom Tov morning, but typically you would have gabayim make the arrangements for the tefillah. So the Aninus is not chal, and you're chayiv to daven, to have a kamay oinus. It's like an oinus. V'chein belel Yom Tov. Likewise, on the night of Yom Tov, afilu shel Yom Tov sheni, even of the second night, hiskima roiv achroinim, di kadesh v'yispal hakol ve'ein boy din oinen. Even though the Mechaber said the second day of Yom Tov is like a weekday, that's during the day. But if it's Yom Tov night, even the second night, where it's not the derech to bury at night, so then the Aninus is not chal. There's no Aninus. Umutter bakol, you're allowed to do everything except for Talmud Torah. Say, why Talmud Torah different? You can't say it's because of Avelos, he's not an Avel yet. Mibnei shehu mesameach, because it makes a person happy. V'chozel inyan Yom Tov. This is regarding Yom Tov. Aval inyan chayil, but during the week. So you'll say, well, maybe if it's not the derech to bury at night, maybe Aninus is not chal at night b'chlal, even during the week. He says, no, that's only on Yom Tov, but during the week, bein balayla, bein b'yom, whether a night or a day, afilu im yesh eze meniya min hagabam shein miskabtzin, even if there's some kind of interference that the gabam who are involved in the tzarchei kvura are not gathering, afilu hachi, even so chal Aninus is chal. Mi shehischel lehispalal ay likroy shema v'nasa oinen pisaim. Someone who began to daven or to read Shema and he suddenly became an oinen, what do you do? You know, that's an amazing question. What do you do? Oy yigmar, do you finish? Oy yafsik, or do you stop in your tracks? Yesh deos b'zeh bein achronim, the various deos. You know, to me it's similar to perhaps the question of if you start a tefillah or a mitzvah before the Zman and in middle and in the middle the Zman comes, are you yotzei the mitzvah? Could we say that it goes by the haschala, and you started beheter, and therefore you continue? So there are various deos among the poskim. The Chazon Ish says you have to stop, because we know even if someone's oisek in a Karban Pesach, he has to stop for Kvuras Meis Mitzvah. And every mess regarding his relatives is like a Mes Mitzvah. Reb Chaim Kanievsky says that even a Shel Tzibur that he finds out in the middle of Chazor Hashatz, he would have to stop. But that's only if he knows. But the Pischei Tshuva says, if someone who's oisek in Kvura, you don't have to tell him before the Tefillah. Okay. Weiter. Ein mechach masad mechal kuf lametes of hey the daita kashvos Yaakov over shari tshuva hevi harbe chonam atzrichim looks like the chach masadam sounds like he goes like the shvos Yaakov that you could finish up, and the shari tshuva brings so many achronim that you have to stop. Sif Gimel Hameshamer as Hames, someone who guards a mess afilu enoi meisai, even if it's not his mess, pater, he's pater from Shema. Says Mishna Berura of Kadni Yudbeis pater me Kriya Shema, from Kriya Shema uvet tefila v'chal ha-mitzvahs mibnei shu oisek b'mitzvah. He's being oisek in a mitzvah sheshomer min ha'achbarim. He's guarding the mess from mice. V'afilu b'sfina, even on a boat, chayshinan la'achbarim, we're afraid of mice. Ve'eno rashai oz l'hachmer l'atzmai. He's not permitted then to be machmer on himself. V'afilu hu yoshiv chutz la'arba amos, even if he's outside of the 4 amos of the mess. V'ayin mashikasamnu el b'simin lamed ches. Okay. Sif Daled. Hayu shnayim mishamif. You have 2 people guarding a mess. So then, they're not both oisek in a mitzvah. So what do you do? Zeh mishamer v'zeh. One guards, the other one could say Shema. V'acher kach mishamer zeh v'kari zeh. And then afterwards, this one guards, and the other one could read. Sifhei hachoifer kever lameis pater. One who's digging a kever for a mace is pater. Says the Mishna Berura afilu b'shas nuchay ma'ad. Even when he takes a moment to rest. But he's not being oisek in digging. Shegamos nikra adayin oisek mitzvah. Even then, he's considered oisek mitzvah. Shal yidei zeh yischazei koicha lachsa v'lachbar. Because by doing so, his strength his koyach will strengthen to dig more. Sif vav hayu shnayim oyoser choifrim. If you have 2 or more people digging, kol hatzrichim l'tzarech achvir v'asachas peturin. Anyone that's needed for the needs of digging at that one time is exempt. V'im yesh noisafim, and if there are more, nishmatim v'koirin, if you have more people than are needed to dig, they could slip away and say Shema, v'choizun elu v'umasaskin, and then they come back and are oisek in the kvura, v'acherim nishmatim v'koirin, and then the others slip away and say the Shema. Sivkatan Yadad va'achirim rotzalemer v'nimsa shakarkol. This way it comes out, they all read. V'lenisbato shum davar me'isek hakever klal afilu rega. And this way there was no interruption in being involved in the kever, because the only ones that slipped out were the ones that weren't needed at that time. Siv Zayin. Asur likrois kriya Shema toich arba amos shel meis. It is prohibited to say Shema within 4 amos of a mace. Or in a cemetery, ve'imkara, and if you did say la yatsa, you're not yatsa. Here, imagine like this: you're going kever hopping, and you realize it's early in the morning. You didn't say Shema. This man is coming, so you're not allowed to say Shema in a cemetery. If you did, you're not yatsa. Now, somebody brought to my attention, you're not allowed to learn within 4 amos of a mess. So how are you allowed to say Tehillim? Because, contrary to popular opinion, the way Tehillim works is it's limud HaTorah. And the answer is it's not Pashat. It's not Pashat. But let's see the Mishna Berura. Sivkata and Tezvav, Kriya Shema. V'uad din loymar Kaddish. Likewise, to say Kaddish, you're not allowed to say within 4 amos of a mess. It's Asr. The Gesher Chaim brings that when you say Kaddish for that mess, or for his honor, the minhag is to say it, because since it's litzarchai ulchvaydai, it's not loyeg larash. What about to be maspid a nifter toich arba ama oisav? and to say psukim and midrashim. Shulchan Aruch says in Yardei Shin Daled Mem, since you're doing it l'chvaydai, therefore the Chachmas Adam says it's mutter to say Tehillim in the room of a mess to save him from ruchos ra'os. But the Chazon Ish says it is usher to say Tehillim in the room of a mess. You should say it in another room. In the Sefer Hilchos Hagra Umin Hagav, he brings that the Chazon Ish was makbid, you're not allowed to say Tehillim b'toich arba amos of a mess. And that's how Rav Chaim Kanievsky paskins. So you say, you're not say, what are all these people doing who go to Kfarim? What do you mean, what are they doing? The Gra holds you don't go to Kfarim. They're not going with the Gra. The Gra holds you don't go to Kfarim, period. That's why there's a question, I always wanted to go to the kever of the Gra, but I haven't made it there yet. And part of the svara is the Gra holds you're not allowed to go to Kfarim, so that might be one kever. But Rav Sternbach, okay, I don't remember clearly. What?
The whole room doesn't have a room din of Daled Amos?
The what? The whole room? Yes, the whole room has a din of Daled Amos, l'chayra. So, but it seems like the minhag is to follow the Gesher Chaim. What do I mean by that? The Shulchan Aruch says you're not allowed to say Kaddish. I'm sorry, the Mishna Berura says you're not allowed to say Kaddish within Daled Amos of a mace. But the Gesher Chaim says if you're doing it for that mace, Mibnei Kevoidai, it's mutter.
What about the other mason right in the area over there?
What about the other mason? Right now, I'm not mocking them because I have to take care of this mess, Look, I'm allowed to tend to the needs of this mess. So, I'm allowed to say Kaddish. You're mocking the other mason. When it's their yard side, someone will say Kaddish for them. They'll get their chance also. Again, the Shulchan Aruch says that you're allowed to be maspid a mess b'tech da'at ha'maisav, even though you're saying midrashim, because it's l'chvaydai. What about the other mason? Sounds like they'll fargin that. Now the Chachmas Adam says, therefore it's mutter to say Tehillim to save the mess from ruchos ra'os. The question though is, are you allowed to say Tehillim by the kever of a tzaddik, because you're being mispalal? I would think that according to the Chachmas Adam, you're allowed to, because you're doing it is l'chvaydai. It's covered to the tzaddik that you're treating his place like a makam kadosh, that it's roi lehispalal sham. The other people, the other Daled Amos, they're not so happy about that. But there's no question. Reb Chaim Kanievsky says you can't do it. But I think the Chachmas Adam would say you could do it. Okay. Now what's the reason for this? It's lo yeg l'rash. It's lo yeg l'rash. Let's see, page 18 in the back. Siman. Fine. Weiter. Oy bebeis hakvaris. Ein la besim MMH katan hevim Mishna Berura mashgusavti sham inyan lichnois besach with tefillin. About entering with tefillin v'hu adin lazeh. The same thing would apply over here. Let's see. By the way, legabe lo yeg l'rash in Siman Memhesav Katan Beis, it's not pasha. We say kol habayis is ka'arba amais. Some say yes, some say not. The Chazon Ish says no, you could be meko. We don't say kol habayis is like arba amais. But legabe achila in the room that a mess is, that even the Chazon Ish says the whole house is like arba amais. By the way, we say that legabe talis and tefillin there's lo yeg l'rash, but that's only by the kever of an ish. By a kever of an isha, you are allowed to wear tzitzis tachtat amos because b'chayeha she was pater from this mitzvah. What about to say tchinois ubakashois? By the way, okay, let's see one more over here. So Tehillim is a problem, technically. So to say Tehillim by Stama Kever, that's not a Kever of a Tzaddik, not Pashut, you're allowed to do that. I'm guessing that's the reason why they have all these, Tchinois and Bakashais to say by Kfarim. Why? Because technically you're not allowed to say Tehillim. Tehillim is Torah. Can't do it. So they wrote all these Bakashais where, it's not Torah. Now to say Tchinois and Bakashais by Kibbutz Tzadikim from the Ramah, it's Mashma and Siman Tavkov Pei Alef Sedal that it's mutter. Okay, next. What about to daven Shachris at a kever? The Gesher Chaim says that Reb Shmuel Salant, when he went to Kever Rachel, he would only daven in the proizdar, but not next to the kever. And I think that's what they do. I mean, it's a little, the davening room by Kever Rachel is not mamish in the makam of the kavura. Mashein Kain, the Maras Machpelah, they daven right by the kever. But the Gesher Chaim says many gedolim davened right next to the kever. The Minchas Elazar says, of course they did. Rachel was before the Torah was given. There's no loig l'rash by Rachel, because she wasn't chayiv in tefillah. It was before the Torah was, even though Avram Avinu was masakin shachris, but you weren't mechuyev to daven. What about to daven at the kever of Meir Balanes? There's no loig l'rash. You know why? Because they're deep down in the cave, so they're not there. But if they would be there, it would be a problem. Very interesting. So it sounds like technically you're not supposed to be davening by Kfarim, the set tefillahs. What about Tehillim? If you're doing it to protect the mess, the Chachmas Adam says it's okay. But what about to daven for one's own needs by saying Tehillim? Maybe it could be construed, again, Chazonish says, you're not allowed to. The Gra, you're not allowed to. Reb Chaim Kanievsky, no Tehillim. But there might be a basis for it based on the Chachmas Adam.
What about the whole Seif of the Phyllis by what you say by mother, by your father, by his?
Mano Lashon?
Yeah.
So that's the Ramah in Siman Tav Kuf Pei Aleph seems to say you're allowed to say Tchinois ubakashais. B'chalal, there's a shaila whether those Tchinos ubakashais you're allowed to say because they're being addressed straight to the mess. Oh, so you want to know if you're doing Shmira, what are you supposed to do the whole time? You're supposed to have like a raid gun to make sure no mice come, and if they come, you shoot them. That's why you're a shomer. What else are you supposed to do? According to the Chazonish, not Tehillim. You have one of these, mice gun, and you're guarding, and if you see them, you got to shoot. Because if what do you think Shmir is from? You're guarding them from mice, so you got to have a mouse gun. What else are you supposed to do? The Chachmas Adam says that you're allowed to say Tehillim to save them from Ruchais Ra'is. Chazonish says not. I don't know. Weiter. Now, it's amazing halacha. You're not yotzei kriyishma if you say it within the 4 amos of a mess. Says the Mishna Berura, la yatsa kansu chachamim hov aval dereim. The rabbis penalize you because you violated their words. Afilu hayashogeg, even if it was b'shogeg. V'harayvid cholik tzvilei the insarch lachs of likros. The Ravid argues on the Mechaber, who's quoting the Rambam, and he says you don't have to say it again. Kiman da'makim hu hayaroy likros by. Since fundamentally it's a place that you're allowed to say the Shema, v'rak mishum lo yigarush yatsa b'diavad. Uladina le'inyan kriya Shema, Hiskima achreinim lachush devei Rambam. Regarding Shema, which is a doiraisa, the achreinim say you have to be choishish for the Rambam to go back and to read. Aval and beirach oyispalel enoi chayzer. But if you made a bracha and you davened, you don't go back. Ule'inyan brachas kriya Shema mistapik aprimagadim ayin sham tamai. So legabe Shema, you say it again. But if you made a bracha, you said Shema Esrei, you don't go back. And regarding brachas kriya Shema, the primagadim is mistapik. Okay, tomorrow Siman ayin beis. Siman ayin beis tomorrow. Have a great day. Afreilachin Shushan Purim. Sorry.